everyone, and welcome to the Hidden Pearls podcast. My name is Emma Kittle, and I am one of your hosts for the show. So first of all, let's just start with a Monday Night Football. Wow. I don't really know what else to say besides how electric the game was. This was my first major event, first football game since being back from Japan. I was over there for a month, and it was a little overwhelming energetically, but such a reminder as why I love it. And it was just so sick to watch the whole team come together like that. And this was such a huge win. Obviously, Uniter fans know that, but just to kind of regain some footing on our home turf, to set the tone for the season, and also just to show ourselves that we can play under some adversity. So I want to give a big special shout out to my favorite offensive lineman, tight end, little brother, Georgie. That was insane. You are outstanding. So since that was a Monday night game and he's traveling to the East Coast this week, the kid is not going to be on the show, but it is also his birthday on October 9th. So George is turning 29. So please make sure to wish him happy birthday. He is such a bright and shining light in all of our lives. And so just want to take a moment to send him some blessings. I can't believe my little brother is 29 and looks like a superhero, but he does, he's amazing. He's so great. So just happy birthday. So much love to George from all of us. So Georgie, I love you. I know everybody here does too. So just thank you for being you, being so charismatic. We had the whole family together. We were going around, and one of our favorite things is to say one thing that we love about them for their birthday. And so as we were going around the table, the one thing that, I try to say something different every year. And so this year, what I've really been noticing and trying to also tap into is how much fun George has in every single moment. Whether it's grinding away at a workout, whether it's making the commute into work, whether it's, cleaning up, doing laundry, or just being around the house and hanging out. There are so many situations where I think I notice that sometimes I get low energy and I kind of let that affect my mood. And George is so good about seizing every moment and just having so much fun and living life to the fullest. And so as an honor, I guess, to him, that's one of the things that I really want to focus on every single day. So with my meditation practice in the morning, it's how can I bring that level of joy and fun and childlike wonder into every part of my day? So with that, let's have some fun on the podcast. So our MVP guest for this week is Shonn Richardson. So Shonn, this is a great story because while Shonn is she's an MVP member, she's a veteran. Her brother is in the NFL. So they're both an MVP together, but professional athlete, and then also for being a veteran. So a really cool combo there. It's 11:11. Make a wish, y'all. We are exactly where we're supposed to be. Love that. But so this is a really fun interview because we've been on a few meetings with Shonn, but she was also in our wellness classes. So we did an introduction to mindfulness course. So we did some meditation and mindfulness practices. We did 2 4-week courses that were free to MVP members, and also anyone who is a member of the Player Coalition, or the NFLPA. So just trying to offer some different resources to our veteran and NFL community. But Shonn was a member of both of those, or she was a participant in both of those courses with her brother. So it was really fun to get to know them and kind of hear the dynamic going back and forth. And so in this interview, we talk about Shonn's experience in the military, from being a woman to having a 28-year career, to her different roles and different ways that she was supporting her soldiers and her team. And then also what life is like afterwards and the different changes and her beautiful new grandbaby and just what life is about now. And we also talk about her beautiful Great Dane dog. So lots of fun content in here. So before we dive into that interview, I have been reflecting a lot on Japan and just some of the lessons and takeaways that really made me enjoy and appreciate my time over there. I love travel anytime that I can do it. But this is the first time that I've actually been somewhere for a full month. Well, I did a study abroad program in Barcelona, but I feel like I'm a little bit more present and mindful and grounded now. So I think I have a little bit more appreciation for culture. Go off 21-year-old Emma. She was a good time, but I feel like there was some cultural moments that were missed. But either way, in Japan, so I wanted to share 3 of my favorite things that either lessons learned sort of, but just kind of takeaways that I've been trying to integrate into my life back here in America. And so, The first one was I love eating with chopsticks. Now, if you have never tried eating with chopsticks, as you get started, it can be a little bit frustrating. But the tip that people recommended to me was that length is your friend. So you want to try to hold the chopstick up towards the very top, so you have a lot more length and leverage. And with that, eating with chopsticks, it really helps you to slow down. What I learned, I can be a really fast eater. And so for me, I've done so many different food meditations, or I have all these different mindful eating practices, but I still notice that a lot of times I'm consuming food really fast, or it's not very mindful. And so eating with chopsticks, I mean, it puts you in the moment. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I've actually been eating with chopsticks a lot of my meals. I try to eat my salads that way. If I'm having like a tofu scramble or any vegetables or noodles even. So just want to offer that. If you're somebody who also eats really fast, this is a great practice to help you to slow down. The next practice that I loved was that they always take off their shoes before they enter their home. So they have kind of house shoes or slippers. But I live, well, kind of all over the place, but I noticed that being in a rush all the time, sometimes you just walk in and you kind of carry that energy into your home. And so symbolically taking off your shoes, it's leaving that energy at the door, and it's whatever happened before. I'm now stepping into this sacred space, which is my home, which is this place, hopefully, that we feel safe in, that it's the energy that has the energy that we want. And it helps us to be that kind of grounded and relaxed version of ourselves. I know sometimes home life is not like that, but either way, symbolically, it's leaving something at the door so that you can enter into this new energy and, kind of shift energies, shift directions, shift whatever you're carrying. But then on a more practical, like cleanliness level, you're not carrying that dirt in. And so there's so many times where, I think the pandemic taught us a lot about how important it is to be clean and to keep our space clean, but also just to honor how we are living and the air that we are breathing, or the clothes that we're wearing, or the sheets, or kind of like the condition of our home. And so, it's really being over there. It helped me remember all those times when it was really kind of crucial on the line for us to be really clean, just reflecting on the pandemic, because if you weren't, you didn't know what you were going to bring into your house. And so it was just a reminder, not to live in fear in that way, but that we do pick up a lot of weird things while we're out walking around, and that keeping your home clean and fresh is a really great way to also keep your energy, your emotions, and your mental state really clean and fresh. And then the last one is just the overall level of respect that the country has for each other, for, even absolute foreigners. Everyone was so incredibly respectful to me. There was a massive language barrier, and I didn't realize how hard that was going to be. And so what I would do is literally just translate something on my phone and walk up to somebody and kind of hold my phone out. And simose is how you'd say excuse me or pardon me, or like how you kind of get someone's attention. And so I would do that and kind of just hold my phone out to somebody, and everyone was so kind and never made me feel stupid for doing that, and were really, really patient to me. And so, observing that. And then whenever you're greeting someone, you always bow to them. So just that level of respect. And then from going to a lot of different baseball stadiums, the cleanliness of the stadium and how the fans really respected and kept the stadium so clean. Like I never saw one piece of trash. There weren't like peanut shells all over the place. There wasn't trash everywhere. And I think that is kind of part of the American culture, is that you can go and it's kind of like a party in the stands, but it was just such a different energy because people were still, getting pretty rowdy, and baseball's a really big deal over there. They don't have American football. But there was still this level of like cheering for the team and supporting them in that way without it being sort of disrespectful to the grounds. So that was really interesting to observe. But either way, lots of lessons from Japan that I am still integrating and, trying to weave into my life in a way that feels very holistic and helps me to slow down. So with that, thanks for listening. I just think Japan is so fascinating, and I'm hopefully going to be going back next year. So cross my fingers on that. If you guys have any Japanese recommendations, or I really want to get into more like the holistic health while I'm over there next year, but let me know. Hit me up. But okay, so with that, let's get rolling on this interview with Shonn.
2, 1, action! Okay, now we're really rolling. We're still just recording, but now we're live. Okay, so Shonn, welcome to the podcast. We are really thrilled to have you. So thank you so much for joining us. I got to know you through MVP, which is kind of our affiliation and so some of our connection, and a little bit on Zoom, with the huddle. And then also as you were a participant in the intro to mindfulness stuff as well. So we can kind of circle back to all those kind of things. So anyway, and I called you this week, and we're really grateful that you decided to be on the show and share your story with us. So thank you. So what I do have you down as a 28-year Army veteran, MVP member. And I guess we're here to learn a little bit more about your journey and kind of getting in and what it was like in for that length of time, and then coming out and some of the transitions that you've faced and that. So again, we really appreciate you being willing to share your story. So we got a little kind of rapid fire getting to know you thing first. Okay. So favorite wine, food, or dessert, and why?
So I don't drink. I probably should, but I don't drink. So my favorite dessert is pound cake. And that is because it was a recipe that was passed down from my grandmother to my aunt to me. And so for the people that I really like, I make them pound cakes. Just at random.
I don't get too many pound cakes except around the holidays. I like the ones with a little bit of rum in them. And I know you don't drink. But anyway, those are pretty good. My mom used to make a wicked one. So it felt like it was 10 pounds. Those things are dense. Yeah, they're pretty good. So, okay, excellent. Favorite movie or book, and why? It doesn't have to be all-time favorite, just something in the top 5.
Like I was telling you, I think that I'm kind of boring, now, because I don't have a favorite movie, book, or anything. I go to the movies every Tuesday. That's my routine every Tuesday, because they have the $5 movie at the AMC. So I've seen so many movies that I really don't have an actual favorite. I just right now, my favorite movie is the Viola Davis movie. That's an excellent movie. But every Tuesday, though, I'm at the movies.
You mean the Woman King one?
Yes, that's an excellent movie. I would have went back this Tuesday to see it for a second time, but the guy was here taking all day about that alarm system. So, but I'll go back next week, because when I was there, people were acting the fool in there. So I'll go see it a second time during the week when everybody's at work. But every Tuesday by 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'm at the movie theater by myself. Fun. Yeah. Do
you have a favorite candy or snack that you have, or?
No, I try not to eat a lot of sweets. So, but my pound cake is my thing, though. That's the dessert, the sweets, the candy. That's all. It takes all of that.
Kind of takes care, and it's medicinal probably as well. So that's a good thing. Let me ask you about the Queen movie, and what was it about it that you felt like that it you responded to it that way? Like, why? What are some of the characteristics about that movie that you really liked?
Well, first of all, I like Viola Davis because I think that she's an excellent actress. I like the fact that the movie is kind of based off a true story. And just to see the different young actors and actresses that are coming up. And it was just actually just a pretty good movie. I can't tell you what it's about, because then it's like you have to tell more. You'll have to tell more than you probably wouldn't want to go see it, because then I have to tell you everything about the movie. So you just have to go see it. But it's an excellent movie, though.
Okay.
She did I watched some stuff of her on social media talking about how crazy the training was for that. And
but she looks good.
She looks real good. She looks really good, but just the level of training that they all had to go to just blew their mind. And she said the director was in there training with them all the time too.
Yeah, she said, one of the other interviews I saw, she said if they make a number 2, she wants to die within the first 5 minutes because she doesn't want to do the training. Like she wants to be knocked out. But yeah, there was some great fighting scenes.
Yeah. All right.
I go see kid movies too. So I don't care what the movie is. I go see all movies, kid movie. If you have little kids, I'll take your little kids to the movies. I just like going to the movies.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's see. Well, then how about what's one of your favorite charities then and why? I mean, are there things that you support or causes that you really believe in?
So being here at Fayetteville, we're supported by Fort Bragg, which is the military base. And so a lot of people joined the Wounded Warriors project. And so when I first got out, I did a lot of volunteer work with them. And then it just kind of fell off once COVID, because we did a lot of work with like the elderly and the homeless. And so, like I said, it kind of fell off and they haven't really they're slowly but surely picking it back up. But due to COVID, that really like knocked a lot of things out.
Okay. All right. And then how about last, just in our little rapid fire thing, how about one person that has inspired you?
The one person?
Or just one of many. Doesn't have to be
one of many.
Yeah.
Definitely my brother, like I said, because we're the closest. So there's like 5, I have 5 brothers and another sister. And so he and I are the closest because, we both kind of have the same discipline, work ethics. So Tony has pretty much been the one to influence me. And he's always been my biggest supporter. Being in the military for that 28 years, I have a son that's 27. So I was a single parent for pretty much the whole time. And so regardless of what happened, Tony has always been there to support my son, to be the father figure for my son. So I can say that he's my biggest, he's my hero. So even though he's younger, you wouldn't know it if you saw us together because he's the more aggressive one. And so he acts like I'm the baby sister. So you would think that, yeah, he's older, but he's not. He's actually the baby. And then there's me.
So you're actually taking care of him.
So I kind of did. And I don't know if Emma faced that, but like when he used to play, I was always the buffer. Everyone would like, go see Shonn if you want tickets, because Shonn can talk to Tony and Tony can do this, or go see Shonn. And so he kind of used me as like his bodyguard, or if women came up and talked to him and he wanted to talk to him, I'm always that buffer in there. So for him.
Yeah, that's great. It's cool how the relationship with siblings like that kind of evolves over time because you're at different stages in life and the ages kind of change. How much older than him are you?
So he just turned 50. So I'm 55. I just turned 55, September 3rd.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You a Virgo?
Yep. He's the reason why I'm in the Army anyway, because when we were growing, so once I got out of high school, I went because I graduated in Germany. And so I went to college, to a junior college. And then Tony was, coming along, playing football a little bit in high school. And so I was like, he's going to be going somewhere. He's going to be doing some things. So that's why I joined, because at that time I guess I was anticipating that my parents wouldn't be able to afford to send both of us to college. So I said, I'll just join the military and I'll get my college stuff out of the way through the military. So that's kind of his fault that I did those for at least the first couple of years anyway.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. And then, but you were in Germany because your father was deployed over in Germany? Is that because he was Army as well, right? Yeah.
My dad retired after 32 years, Vietnam vet. So, yeah.
Okay.
How was living in Germany?
As a dependent, it was awesome because, I got an opportunity to do a lot of traveling, good food. There, it's like a family with amongst teenagers. So it was good. I did some things I probably wasn't supposed to do. We would skip school and go downtown because the principal wouldn't come down there. So, we just did some couple of crazy things, but it was good.
Did you learn much of the language?
No, I could count, but if you asked me to count now, I couldn't, but I could count to 10. That was and some foods, but not to be fluent enough to hold a conversation. No. Because they speak pretty much English over there anyway. So,
right. Have you been back since?
I haven't. I have. When I was in the military, I came down on orders for that, but I never wanted to go to Germany because I never wanted to be far away from my family because that would have taken me way out. And so I always, I go on little short trips by myself because when you go to Germany and you take your family, you have to stay 3 or 4 years. And so I never wanted to be away from my family for that long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, being relocated with the Army. Okay. All right. So I think you said you have 5 other brothers, 1 other sister, so 7 total. Dad was in the military, so he did all those kind of things. So then you graduate high school, dad's in the military, you're in Germany, and then you guys move back to the States at some point, and then eventually, yes. I think you said from junior college, you decide to enter the military. So, and I know you said, kind of talked a little bit about Tony's situation and thinking about college, but were there other factors that led you to join, and why'd you pick the Army?
So I used to see my dad get up every day and, go to work. And then we used to have to, two of our chores was ironing his uniform and shining his boots. So that was part of our weekly routine of things. And so I was like, you know what, this Army thing, that doesn't look that bad. It's like, and my dad can do it. So I know I can do it. And back then I always tell people I want to join the Army to be an airborne ranger. And so at that time, now females can be rangers, but at least I went to airborne school. But that was my whole goal, to try to be an airborne ranger, because I thought, if my dad could do this, I can do this as well. And I had one of our brothers, he was in probably maybe 2-3 years. And I was like, I know if he can do it for that little bit of time, I can do it. And so then that's why I chose the Army, because I can't swim. So the Navy was out. The Marines, that's not my thing. And Air Force, they look like wusses. And so I was like, the Army, I can do this. I can do. That was my mindset back then.
Right.
Now we're all equal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I know, that's so funny. I was at the LA premiere for the new MVP movie, and I won't describe which MVP member was chatting, but the whole group they called the Air Force guys Chair Force for just sitting around. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty funny, all those internal pieces. So, okay, all right. So you love shining boots and ironing, so you decided to go Army and just run with that. So that's all pretty cool. And then, just to clarify, was your dad a Ranger then?
No, and that's why I wanted to do that, because I was like, I have to do something. Like, you had Tony playing football, so I have to do something that nobody else is doing. And so my dad didn't even go to airborne school. And I used to be like, what a leg. Like, God, come on, at least do something. But he was an infantryman, so that's an important job. He was a tanker, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So that's a whole nother story. So, okay. So then eventually you join up, and how old then when you joined?
I was 23 going on 24. So I joined like late in there.
All right. So you join up, and then tell us about, I know you said you go to basic and do all that. You did all your kind of training, and then 28 years. Just maybe tell us a little bit about your career within the Army, and where did the airborne thing fit in, or the Rangers, and what did you end up doing for most of your career?
So the Ranger thing, that didn't pan out because they weren't letting females in. That's something they just started within the last couple of years. So that's a good thing for females. When I first joined, so now it's logistics. Back then it was subsistence. And so we were responsible for making sure that soldiers had their food in the dining facilities or when they went to the field. But as a private, basically, you really don't have a job training because you do whatever they tell you to do. You don't, there's no options or there's no asking questions. So you do what pretty much they told you to do. And then as the years progressed, it turned into logistics. So logistics is my background. And the airborne, that's just an additional duty that you do if you're in an airborne unit. So I was on airborne status for 2 years, or maybe 1.5. I got hurt a couple of times, so I had to give that up because, when your hip comes out of socket, or like one time I actually landed on the ambulance, which was good for me because I'm right there with it. And I had a crook in my neck. And so driving, I could only look one way. So I said, this probably ain't going to work out too well for me. So later on in life, those things are going to come back and haunt you. So, but
they do.
as a logistical specialist, And my last job is I dealt with SHARP, which is helping soldiers like transition from that have been sexually assaulted or either sexually harassed. That was my last job in the military.
Okay. So then, and where primarily were you stationed? Did you have one particular spot or did you move around quite a bit as you changed both ranks and duties?
So I've been to Korea a couple of times, mostly state. And then here in the States, I've been to Fort Bragg 3 times. And then I ended up staying here. I've been to Kentucky and I've been to Kansas. So Kansas was probably the best because at that time, Tony played for the Chiefs. So, that was just like right down the road. So yeah, that was a good assignment for me there, but
that was pretty, yeah. Okay.
Were you able to go and watch him play very often?
Every week.
Aww.
I was at all home games.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so it worked out for him because I like to cook. And so for all holidays, so I would cook dinner and some of the players would come over and have dinner. So it was good. But yeah, and my boss was a Kansas City fan. And so especially like when Tony had broke his arm, I was able, he's like, just go down there and take care of your brother. Don't worry about what. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. So I was down there for I'd go for a week and then come back, go for a week, come back. And so it worked out good being there in Kansas City.
So of all the teams that Tony played for, which one was your favorite?
Kansas City. Yeah, that Minnesota, that was okay. Matter of fact, I was in Germany and it came across the bottom of the TV. Tony Richardson, traded to, and I was like, what the hell? I called him up like, I don't look good in purple. We need to go back to red. I don't even look good in purple. What are we doing here? And so, but it was good. And then the Jets there, Kansas City is more of a family-oriented organization. And so that was probably the best out of all of them. But yeah, that Minnesota, yeah, that purple and that cold weather, because I think it's colder there than it is in Kansas City. And so,
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Twin Cities can be a little bit tough, but yeah, now they got that fancy big kind of
spaceship
stadium looking thing.
I love that stadium though.
All right. So what were the years on Tony's career? Just kind of roughly.
What do you mean? What?
Well,
if you're going to ask me dates, dates, I can't
remember. What decade? What decade?
Decade? So let me see. It was in the 2000s. Yeah.
Okay.
2000. Yeah. Yeah. Because my son was, so like being stationed at Fort Riley, Tony would come up and do things at the school with my son. And so the first time he came, he had a Got Milk commercial poster and it was hanging up in the school. And so the whole time my son never said anything to anybody. And when Tony came up there to be able to sign autographs for the kids were like, how could you not tell us who your uncle was? And Andre, to him, he was just like, And I think he was like 7 at that time. And so he was like, it was like no big deal to him. But those kids were like, how could you? How's he standing right here and he's right here? So I want to say like the 2000, 2001, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dates are hard for me to remember. That TBI makes it a little difficult there.
Yeah, no, all good on that. Then I guess just kind of closing out your military service piece, the time you spent with the SHARP program and working with that. I mean, that's something that people, certainly talked about. We've had some other guests kind of talk about their experiences around that. How was working with women who had been through those experiences in the military? And how was the military responding to that?
So you work with men and women.
Yep.
There are a lot of men who are sexually assaulted. Because as a matter of fact, there's more men that are sexually assaulted than there are women. And that's just because there's more of them in the Army than there are females. And so I joined the SHARP program because in my earlier years of being in the serving the military, I was assaulted by someone that I knew. And so I always said, and there wasn't good therapy. There was no one really to turn to talk about it. So I had to go within my church, did some therapy, but mainly within the church. That was helping me to be able to start something, I'd say getting back to my new normal. So when I started with the SHARP program, that was the main reason, because I wanted to be able to be there to help other people and help other soldiers, as a matter of fact. So I did that for my last 5 years. It was very trying. There's a lot of people who don't believe in the actual Army programs that are out there, just because sometimes, if you look at the news, you have people that are in the SHARP program who are doing things they have no business. So it's a good program. Like I said, I was able to help a lot of soldiers to be able to transition to a new normal, because you can't go back to what it was before that. So it was just helping them transition to a new normal and getting them the help, and then prosecuting the people who did the wrong. I guess that's the best way I can say it. Keep it together.
So were you doing like kind of counseling with them?
So no. So within the units, you have a SHARP program and you have victim advocates. So it's more victim advocates, like walking them through the processes. If they have to go to appointments, you come in contact with them when they first are assaulted, and you go through when they go for the same exams. And basically, you're there just to help them as an advocate, to be the voice for them. And especially like for young soldiers, because you have to be the advocate for them against other soldiers. Because sometimes, that really, like SHARP kind of really affects the morale and teamwork of the unit. So you're kind of the buffer between the soldiers and sometimes the leadership and other soldiers.
Right. Yeah, I've done a fair amount of my criminal defense years as a lawyer. We worked with victim advocacy groups and victim representatives and all that. And I always remember that they talked about kind of an analogy or metaphor for it is like taking this sheet of paper and crinkling it up, and then you uncrinkle it and try to get it as flat as you can, but you never get all the wrinkles out, and so it's like, it's still a sheet of paper. It's still the same size. It's still the same color, but that experience of being crinkled up doesn't ever entirely go away. And so when you talk about kind of the new normal, because that's all of a sudden that's kind of built into your baseline as one of your experiences, and then you're working through the trauma related to that and try to kind of reframe things in a way that lets you move forward. That's a really difficult process. So that's great that the military is doing that and has some advocates and working on those pieces. So, okay. Anything else?
They're not perfect at it. And so, I had the opportunity when I retired to go back and get a job working with soldiers, but I had to say I can't do that because I felt like I saw myself being fired, because as a soldier, I retired as a master sergeant, and so as a master sergeant, people listen to what you have to say. Like that E.F. Hutton, when you talk, people listen. Like you have a voice, a seat at the table. But if I would have went back as a civilian, there's a lot of things that I've seen within the military now that within the leadership that I know that they would probably fire me, because I'd be like, no, you're fucked up. Like what you did was wrong or whatever. And I think that they wouldn't listen so much to a civilian. And so I had to say, I can't put myself through that. And I don't want to, that Vanessa Gilliam story, the female that was killed in Texas, like so many things could have prevented that. And so I said to myself, like, I can't do that to myself, because I know, like I said, I would be fired because I would be cussing all of them out, because I would think like, I'm still the master sergeant, like you should listen to me, but they don't. And so they listen to soldiers, but civilians, not so much. And so I just said, I have to totally step away from trying to do that kind of job in that sector within dealing with the soldiers and within the military. It hurts me because there's a lot of them out there who need help. And because I have the experience, but like I said, my mental health, I know that, like I said, I've been cussed half of them out because just some of the things they do are just not right.
Yeah.
In the Army culture.
Well, so even So thinking about kind of your role as an advocate and how you were helping people, I mean, just what you're saying, like with the experience and the wisdom that you do have, if say there was a soldier or somebody who's kind of going through a situation like that, is there a path that you recommend people take, or like, a position in the military, or like someone that they seek out? If they're not directly working with Sharp, is there like a resource, or maybe even, so like what I do I do it more on the holistic health coaching side, but I kind of see what I do as being an advocate, or like I organize people's healthcare teams, so I kind of find the pieces that work best for those people. And then I help them ask the right questions and get the answers and encourage them to like keep going farther. Cause sometimes like working up against the medical field, it gets really intimidating and it gets really scary. And then all of those kind of fears and worries flood in. And it's like having a question base, or having somebody who's like, okay, make sure you get these answers. It can be really empowering, because I mean, even personally, I've sat in on like even my own appointments, and in the moment I can't get past like, how is this happening to me, or what is happening to me, that I literally sit there like a deer in the headlights, and I'm like, okay, whatever you say. And it's like, I don't advocate for myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So even now I've been, because I figured it up today, like I've been retired now. I didn't realize like almost 4 years, the time has gone away from me. So I still have some soldiers who call me or email me, text me or whatever. So there's still some soldiers that I work with. And what I do is I just contact wherever they're at and the advocate, and whether I know them from prior or just talking to them to say, hey, there's this soldier that needs X, Y, and Z, and try to just put them, with the right people that's able to help them. So I still stay in contact with a few of my soldiers who were assaulted. And some of them are not my soldiers. I call them my soldiers because, that's just what we do. But like I said, I stay in contact with a good number of them that, just to check in and say, how you're doing, or whatever.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll circle back into that. I guess the one of the things that when you ended up as the master sergeant, so are you familiar with Halo? You know what Halo is? It's a game. Oh, okay.
That game?
Anyway.
Oh, no, I don't. I have to tell you, I don't play games. People look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like I don't play video games. That's what I told you. I think I consider myself to be kind of boring because I don't play video games. Like I don't do any of that stuff. I don't play board games. I don't play card games. So I just tell people I don't play games. And
well, the only reason I ask is the main character is his name is Master Sergeant. So that's his role.
Oh,
so kind of a futuristic thing. So that's what he's getting. But it takes us to kind of you finally leaving the military after 28 years. And so I guess explain a little bit about that, how you made that decision. But I guess one of the things I was hearing in that is this stark contrast between as a Master Sergeant with 28 years experience, when you say things to certain people, they're going to do what you say, and they're going to listen to what you have to say. And I think one of the common themes that we hear from military personnel when they leave the military, now all of a sudden the uniform's off and they don't have that rank, and they say things to people and they're like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? And like, so that sense of authority or that role or that place that you had is suddenly vanquished in that kind of way. So I guess, tell us a little bit about your decision to leave the military, why you made it and all that. And then just some of the things that you faced as you went out. And I mean, if the loss of rank was kind of an issue for you as you exited the military and rejoined civilian life. So
I decided to retire after we were supposed to go on another deployment. And I watched my mother fall apart when we were going to Afghanistan. I watched my brother, all of our years of growing up, I never seen that joker cry. Never, ever. And to see him fall apart, and I'm looking like, what the hell is happening here? I expect my mother because, she's my mother, but for my brother to fall apart like that. And I was like, I couldn't do that to them again because, I used to always tell people I'm in the Army till death do us part. And so that sounds kind of crazy, but I was like, I mean, I'm in the Army. So, you deploy, things happen, but watching them fall apart. And so when it came time, I was like, I'm done and I decided, once people start making decisions and when you don't want to do what the people above you tell you to do, then it's kind of time to go home. Like it's time to check out. You've already mentally checked out. And so I just decided for myself that I wanted to retire. My son was finished with school. So I was like, yeah, you're on your own, buddy, get your own benefits. Cause basically I say get your own benefits or whatever. And I was like, I'm done because I really felt like I could not do that to them again. Cause you're not promised tomorrow. So that's why I decided to just go ahead and hang my boots up. The transition as far as not having power.
Wait, let me just, so when we asked you about your military career, you didn't say anything about Afghanistan deployment. So was there just the one deployment with Afghanistan?
No.
Or did you have
So being an old soldier, I came in the Army back when Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And so that was crazy because when the war kicked off, I was like, I didn't join the Army for this. I joined the Army for the college. And that's what everybody said. We joined the Army for the college. I didn't join the Army to go to no Desert Storm. And I can recall one of my friends, her mother was like, send her dad instead of her. He's been shot before. Send him, send him, let him take her place or whatever. So, so I did Desert Storm and that was back in the 90s. Yep. And then coming back. So then there was, of course, no deployments from there. And then I've been to Kuwait 2 times. And Kuwait used to be like a deployment, but it's not really considered a deployment. It's like going to New York now because they have, they've become so Americanized. And then my last deployment was Afghanistan.
Okay. Just kind of wanted to get all of that in there. So, okay. So you're talking about the transition. So you decided to leave. You're not one to listen. You told Lieutenant Colonel to go stick it up as whatever. And so they suggested maybe it's time to go. So you decided to go.
No. They didn't suggest. I did. You can retire pretty much at any time. And like I said, I couldn't do that to my family because I knew, like I said, I saw the toll that it took on them. And I couldn't go through that again. And I realized that, I'm just not emotionally and physically ready. Mentally, I don't want to do this anymore because like I said, Afghanistan was getting crazier and crazier. And so it's like, no, I can't, if I have to die, I'd rather die here in the United States versus over there because so many crazy things happen, when on deployments, I can remember running PT and all of a sudden you hear this noise of this thing coming over you. And my friend and I, we was out running. And so we're trying to run and find cover. I was like, I don't want to do this shit no more. Like, no, I'm good. If I hear there's certain sounds that I hear that trigger that make me look around like, okay, what the hell's happening? Is there income? Or if I hear incoming, it makes me stop and look what you're doing and see what's happening. So I said, I just didn't want to do that to myself. Cause that's difficult. You can't sleep a full night or rest because you're waiting or you're sleeping with your gear on because you're too lazy. It's easier to sleep with it on. And that way, if you have to jump up, you can jump up and go ahead and go versus trying to get all that crazy stuff on, because it could be incoming. So I just said, I'm done. I want to go back and be a girl and just do girl stuff and do whatever.
So speaking of girl stuff, so once you did get out, what was the best girl thing that you did? Or what did you look forward to?
Nails.
I was going to say, I saw your nails.
Hair. I used to always tell people the only thing I care about in the military is hair, nails, and toes. And really all I could care about was toes because that's the only thing that you can control is your toes. The rest of your body, the rest of your hair, nails, all that, you're not in control of that when you're in the military. They don't ask to see your toes. And so that's the only thing you can really control is your toes. But that's why you said hair, nails, and toes. I don't care about none of the rest of this stuff. I don't care about nothing else that happened. So hair, nails, and toes. That's my thing.
Okay.
I went yesterday.
They look cool. They look great.
So, okay. So Tuesdays is movies and Wednesdays is pedicures.
Yeah. Every So I was going every 2 weeks, and then finally I was like, you know what? I'm really wasting money here. Now I just go like because it's like not like I'm doing a whole lot, So I was like, I'm gonna stretch this out a little bit. So I go like once a month to get my nails and pedicure, and I have OCD, so they know already. Like everything has to match. That's why I have 2 Great Danes, because everything has to match. Like I can't have a Great Dane and a Chihuahua. Like everybody, all dogs I've had, they all match. I had Airedales, I had Cocker Spaniels. Everybody matches. No, there's no outside thing here. Everybody has to match. So
no stray tangents. Everything fits together. I got you.
And they almost match down to the color, because one is black and gray and one is like just all black. So everybody has to match.
Okay. Well, we look forward. If you send us a picture, we'll make sure we add that to the storyline. So, okay. Well, talking then transition. So you get out and you get your nails done, get your hair fixed in the way that you want. And then, so there's obviously some good things. You don't have to listen to people that you don't want to listen to, and you get to do whatever you want. What were some of the maybe struggles that you had as you left, letting go of being a Master Chief and that kind of stuff? So what were some of those transition things that you faced?
I really didn't have a struggle with letting it go, because even now to this day, if I go out to the base, because that's where I do my medical stuff at, if I see craziness, I just tell myself, close my eyes and say, do the whole meditation thing. Not my monkeys, because you see craziness out there. So I didn't have a real problem with letting it go. And even to the fact, like sometimes if I'm at the clinic and if they say, if they mess up and call me Master Sergeant Richardson, like I don't move, because I'm like, that's not who I am. It took me a long time to figure out who I was, like what my name was, like, because sometimes even now, like when I spell my name to people, and I have to ask myself, like spelling Shonn, like, did I leave an N off? I know it's my name. Did I leave an N off of my name or whatever? Because in the military, nobody goes by your first name. It's all last name. So I had to learn my first name as Shonn and how to spell it correctly or whatever, because I have spelled it wrong. I left an N out in my head. I left the N out. But if they call Master Richardson, like I don't move, because I'm like, that's not me anymore. That's who I used to be. Because there could be, another Master Richardson there. There could be another person that has that same name. So I just don't acknowledge them. And then they'll come up to me like, well, we're talking to you. Well, that's not my name anymore. So I didn't have a hard transition of letting it go, because to me, it's like, when you're done, you're done. Like stick a fork in it. It's over. Right. And so it was an easy transition. As far as, like I said, with the name and just being able to just be free. Like, and even if people that I know, if they call me Master Sergeant Richardson, I ignore them too. Because I tell them that's not, that's not who I am. That's an old person. And I don't hang on to that. So you can call me Shonn, or even you can call me Richardson. I might pay attention, but most of the time, if you don't say Shonn, then I don't acknowledge you. I tell them, I'm sorry, but that's not who I am anymore.
So what was it like transition wise, just your lifestyle, from going to like being around so many people and having this kind of like big orbiting family around you all the time, or just like all the military and like the sergeants who you were helping and working with, to not having that anymore?
So here, I think this is why I stay here at Fort Bragg, because this is, it's comfortable here because I'm surrounded by a lot of people. There's more soldiers or veterans here than there are any place else. And so I'm comfortable with the people that are here. So I still have a small group of people that I used to work with that we all stayed here because it's comfortable for us. And so there's some people that have retired that, like I said, that I still meet with my best buddy. Matter of fact, he comes over every day. And then I have another one where me, him, and his mom, we go hang out and do stuff. And so, I having those guys here makes the transition easier because we all have the same issues and the same problems. My other friend, I have to talk him off the ledge like every other week because he's mad. He's a soldier. I mean, he's a retiree, but he's mad because where he works at, people are not working as hard as he's working. And so I have to talk him off the ledge and say, hey, you're not in charge. If you want to be in charge, get a job where you're in charge. But you're not in charge. You're just like the rest of them. So I have to talk him off the ledge. Like, don't go over there and try to slap the guy because he's not working as hard as you. Just you're not, and have to tell them you're not in charge, and be okay with not being in charge. And like I said, I'm okay with not being in charge. So I don't know if I answered your question. I feel like I would start going off on a tangent there.
Oh, no, that's great. But, that is one, that's something that comes up on the huddles all the time is people are like, I don't want to be too, condescending towards civilians, but like military folks, when they're used to some order, things being at least moderately logical, in the way in which they're approaching it. And then they go out in the workforce in the civilian arena. It's just like, they're so funny. I mean, I've heard it so many times. They're just stupid. It's like people don't do things. They don't work the right way. They just not very efficient. They don't get shit done. It just drives people crazy.
So this guy, his name is Kim. And I keep trying to get him to come on MVP because I think it will really help him out a lot. But his garage, when you go into his garage, it scares the shit out of me every time because he has this mannequin that has a full uniform still on, and he has all of his military stuff. And his wife is like, get rid of that shit. Like when I retired, I got rid of everything. I only have one uniform and my dress uniform. Everything else is gone. I was like, I'm not carrying that stuff around. And his first job when he got out, they sent him his first check, and he was like, you're going to pay me all this money to do this? And he quit the job because he felt like they were paying him too much money. I was like, you're crazy. But he was in the military for 20 plus years. And so, he was like, when you get paid this kind of money, you have to really work. And I don't want to work that hard. I was like, but take the check. They don't ask me to do that much. But yeah, I had to talk. So his wife will call me. And that's a good thing about other spouse, like with some of the veterans, I'm friends with their spouses as well, and they don't feel threatened by me because they know I'm not trying to get their husbands. I'm just good friends with them. And so, she calls me and is like, you got to talk to Kim because, Kim is about to beat this person up or whatever. Like I said, I'm trying to get him on MVP, but it ain't working out well.
Okay. Well, then kind of thinking about MVP. So eventually, you said you've been out 4 years. Tell us a little bit about your journey into MVP. And I guess just within that context, as you're talking about it, how it helped and all that. And I guess I'm just still wondering, do you feel like, did you face any kind of depression or anxiety or kind of deep sadness as you were going through any of these kind of things? And then tell us your personal MVP story.
So my MVP story, I'll start with that first. So I think Tony had probably been a part of MVP for the longest, and he kept on telling me about it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't do groups and organizations. Like, I'm not a team player. I'm not, because, that's my line for everything. I'm not doing that. That's my line. And so he, I don't know if have you met Yuri? Have you met so Yuri, and I guess because I really don't have much of a life. So Tony figures he can call me any time of the day or night. And so they called me at 2:30 in the morning and it was like, yeah, my buddy Yuri's on here. And, Yuri's talking like, yeah, Shonn, I think you should join MVP. And I'm like, who are you? Like, what in the world? And so they're like, yeah, you need to join MVP, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, it's 2:30 in the morning because, he's in LA. So, that's nothing to them. And so that's how I joined MVP because Tony figured if he told Yuri to tell me that I would do it, he's like, she's not going to do it because I've been trying to get her to do it. So that's how I joined the MVP. Has it helped me? I don't know. So, it's weird for me because if you ever notice, like whenever I say, like, how they want you to say your name and all that other stuff, I just say my name because you asked me what my name is. And I just say retire from the military. I don't go into that 2 kills for this. I don't like that's old stuff. I don't, that's not who I am at that particular point. So I don't go off into all that, how many people I killed, what I done did, and all my, like, I don't like that, but that's the rules of the game.
Let me just clarify for non-MVP folks in the huddles, when you introduce yourself or you first speak, it's supposed to give your name and then location, wherever you're at, if it's on a digital thing or Zoom, and then kind of branch of service. And a lot of times folks go into branch of service and they're going to do deployments and a lot of that kind of all.
Oh yeah, they go all.
So, yeah,
they go all in. Yeah, and it's like, oh God, okay, but that's okay. For me. But
So, but you did participate in our mindfulness class. So you showed up for some of those, and then you do some of the huddles. So tell us, how has it helped, or where are you at with MVP then? So it's a little bit different for you. You're not a team person or a group person, and you don't like to do very much stuff, but here you are still kind of dangling around with MVP. So what keeps you coming back?
I think what keeps me coming back is some of the guys that are on there. Like I've become friends with some of them. And then somebody has to be the person that tells the jokes or say something crazy and not always be so serious. And for most of the guys that are on, like the ones that I talk to, so I talk to some people outside of the huddle. Here in North Carolina, there's in Cary, that's where Wayne lives. That's one of the MVP members. And so I've connected with him. And so I check on him quite regularly. And a couple of the other guys that are spread out. And so I stay in contact with a lot of them. I may not talk to them on the huddle, but I talk to them out of the huddle because, it's peer led. And so we do more, like I said, conversations outside. Of course, Caesar. And so, if you get on the phone with Caesar, you're going to be on there for a long time. So I just talked to him yesterday for about 2 hours.
I get weekly check-ins, not quite weekly, but yeah.
And so that's why I stay. I stayed because of those guys. It's not so much MVP because I've only done one event with MVP, and that was with the horses with Susie. So I went out to California, I did that. And so I haven't had the opportunity to do any other MVP things.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Try getting off of it with your other stuff.
Yeah, well, no, my phone's turned off, and this is on Do Not Disturb. I guess I can.
Oh, are you back?
Yeah,
we're here.
Did we freeze? Because you froze on us, but I don't know if it was us or you.
Yeah, you had froze too.
Okay.
It was a good cutoff point though, because you just said it was right at. I haven't had enough time I haven't really been able to do any other events.
So you did the equine healing though with Susie, and then you were kind of okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the equine healing event with Susie was like?
So, I told you, I always, even most people don't know that I'm very shy. I know you can't tell now because I know you all, but, I feel like I know you all, but, it was interesting because I got to meet some of the other members from there, but working with the horses. So, I wear wigs and all that kind of stuff. And so I felt like a couple of the horses kept smelling my hair and trying to pull at my hair because they thought I had robbed their ass, I guess. And so but it was very inspirational and it was very calming. And just seeing that transition, like one of the members that was there, like just seeing his anxiety. Like when we first started, his anxiety was high, and just to watch him to be able his nerves just to calm, and just watching the horses, it was beautiful. I had a very good time up there. Plus Susie is a good cook, and I went with, like I said, a pretty good team of guys out there. So it was good. I would do it again. I wouldn't wear my hair weave though, because like I said, those horses were at my hair, and then Susie has some good pictures, but it was good. Very relaxing, no phone, so that's a good thing. Nobody calling you, worrying you, so that was another very tranquil. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. In August, this past August, Em and I and my wife, Emma's mom, Jan, we did a 2.5 day workshop. Susie, it was a different ranch than Susie's, but it was up by San Luis Obispo. And it was, very powerful stuff, being in the round pen. These were wild Mustangs that they brought in, but it was a pretty cool deal. So it's a neat event. So,
it was crazy with those horses, how like they would just come up to you and just be standing there looking at you in your eyes. And you're looking like, what are they thinking? Like, it's like they can see into your soul. I felt like, and so it was like I said, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I would go again. Yeah,
you can't bullshit them.
No.
Yeah. So it's a pretty genuine deal. So, okay. Then kind of what's any big plans just kind of enjoying life and going to movies and getting your nails done, which is all great. Do you have any other kind of plans you want to share or anything going on?
So I don't know. My son gave me my first grandchild. Yay! Oh. And he is so cute. I just came from down there. So I went to, his mother had to go, his girlfriend had to go out of town. And so for her job, so I went up there for a week and a half to help my son take care of the baby. He kept saying, "Oh, I can do it by myself." I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." But we decided that wasn't going to work out. And so I went up there to Arizona in Tucson, stayed for a week and a half. My son said, "You have to make sure you have a return trip ticket." Because the first time I went, I stayed for like a month and a half. And they were like, this is when he was first born. So that's my new project. I don't know, I guess project, but that's my new thing is my little boo-boo. And so he is, I have to send you pictures. He is so doggone cute. He has red hair and blue eyes. And he is just so adorable.
Congratulations.
So yeah, so that's my new thing. I go shopping a lot for him. I didn't realize how much until I went to visit them. And I was like, they were like, "Yeah, you bought that and you bought that." And I was like, "Well, shit, I got to slow down on this thing here because this kid's going to break me." But yeah, now my favorite store is Baby Bye Baby or something like that. And so, yeah, so that's what I live for now. I told my son, if something happens to me, make sure you put some money aside because, this kid has to have a very good life, So, but that's my new thing.
Oh, good. Very fortunate to have grandma over the show, helping make sure everything goes well. So,
so I'm wondering so after you got out of the military, how long until you started buying your matching pairs of dogs?
Before I start buying my matching dogs?
Yeah, when you got your two pups.
No, I've had OCD the whole time I've been in the military. So everything.
So you've had dogs the whole time?
Yeah, I've had every dog I've ever had. We don't have no strays. That's probably bad. Even if I picked up a stray dog, I would probably still try to match it up with some other dog. So every dog I've ever had, I say everybody got to have a friend, and you got to relate. Just like within the military, everybody needs a friend, and so you get somebody who's just like you. So that's how I have these. Like I said, and my parents were like, "Why do you have two big dogs?" Well, because everybody needs a friend, and so they can't help it because they're big. But my OCD is horrible. Like I said, when I tell you I match everything up because I just can't. Like I can't. If it's not matched, I can't function. Like yesterday when I went to the nail place and she was like, "Well, can you come back tomorrow so we can paint your toes?" No, I can't. I can't leave here with nails one color, toes another. No, I can't. Like I can't. It won't let my life will not let me. Like the world is going to stop for me because everything has to match. Like I said, when I tell you everything matches. Because
All right. Hey, because we mentioned already that you went through the mindfulness course with us. Any mindfulness update? How's that? Are you still practicing a little bit, or how's that carried on for you at all?
So I do the meditation. I try to do it at night more so that way I can sleep because I have trouble sleeping. And I've tried like different pills. I do the same, like I do the doTERRA essential oils. And so I recommend it for everybody else, but I guess maybe I've done it so much that like that now doesn't work. So I try to do the meditate to clear my mind so that I'm able to sleep a little bit better. But I do. Or if I go to Walmart and these screaming babies are in there, I love babies, but these screaming babies in there, and I just kind of or I see people acting the fool, I just kind of like zone out, like, okay, you're not talking to me, not my monkeys, not my monkeys. That's my chant, not my monkeys. And it seems to work.
Well, I love that as a mantra because, it's really true. Like setting boundaries about where you're going to put your emotional and intellectual and physical energy is really important, and so knowing that chaos is going on over there and not having to engage it or put energy into it, it's a very powerful thing. So that's pretty cool. So, all right. Well, let's see. We'll kind of wrap up. So one of the things we like to, so our podcast is called Hidden Pearls. And so what we're kind of part of that is that we're out looking for the hidden pearls within all people. So we believe everybody's got some good stuff in them, or we really appreciate the charities that are out there. So we'll be making a donation to the charity of your choice. So I know you mentioned Wounded Warriors, or we can do MVP, or if there's a different one. So before
Wounded
we hang
Warriors.
up, you want me to do Wounded Warriors? Okay.
Yeah, Wounded
So
Warriors. Everybody's picking MVP. I listened to some of your other podcasts, and everybody's picking MVP. I got to be different. Wounded Warriors, and plus they do a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Oh no, and we've had some other folks donate to them as well. So no, that's great. So we'll do the Wounded Warriors for that amount. And then just, I'm guessing I know the answer to this, but in your life right now, what are some things, or even just one thing that gives you hope and makes you smile? And I think I know the answer, but go ahead and tell us again anyway.
His name is Andre Jr. That's what,
nice.
I had to tell my son, I still love you. Don't get me wrong. I still love you, but the world revolves around AJ right about now. It's just, I can't help it. I still love you, do anything for you, but the world revolves around AJ. I told him nothing personal, right. Just the way it is. So yeah, that's my one thing.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Any other question? Or if you have any last thoughts, suggestions, or I guess, the one thing you have a very down-to-earth, practical approach.
Very matter of fact.
Yeah, to your life experiences, the military and those kind of things. So any encouragement for some vets who might be, kind of struggling with that transition back into civilian life? I mean, as to things that helped you or that you might encourage them to think about?
I would say, don't be so quick to, a lot of people, they retire and then they go get another job, like immediately. And it's like, take a minute to take a break and just breathe. Like, just take a second just to, enjoy not getting up. I know probably like the first couple of days that I was retired, I jumped up and I'm like, oh shit, I'm late for PT. Like, oh God, I got to hurry up. And I was like, oh man, wait a minute. I ain't got to go to that. I don't have to do that or whatever. So I think just take a minute to breathe and realize that you're not internally, we're always going to be a soldier. I tell people that I'm a soldier. I'm always going to be a soldier, but just take a minute just to figure out who you are and what you are. And like I said, and what your name is, what your first name, not your last name, what your first name is, and just breathe. And then, some people can do that. Some people can't. Luckily for me, as far as with my finances, I get a disability check and I get a retirement check. And so for me, it's easy to sit back and just breathe. But that would be the main thing. Just take a deep breath. Don't be in such a hurry, because when you jump right in, you're jumping in and you still have that soldier thing in your head. Right. And people don't want to hear that anymore, because they'll tell you, you're not in the Army anymore. Sit your ass down. We don't want to hear what you got to say. You're not in the Army anymore. So just take a minute and breathe and enjoy just being able to do whatever you want to do. Whether that's why, like the piercings, because like that, I just turned 55 and my parents were like, when I got the nose pierced, then I got my lip pierced, and my dad was like, why would you do that? Are you having a midlife crisis? Like, no, because I couldn't do it for 28 years. So now I can do whatever I want to do, whether I want to hang hoops from it or whatever. I can do whatever I want to do, because I have options now. I can make decisions and choices. So I would just say, breathe.
Yeah. Unwind a little bit.
Yeah.
You spend all the years in the military being all wound up and doing all those things. And it really trains you this compulsion, like you're kind of evaluated based on the things that you can do and what you have to do and getting them all done.
What you have to offer.
Yeah. Instead of just like living into your own identity and who you are as a person, and just like having the freedom to be and just be present and let it kind of unfold a little bit instead of rushing back into it. So,
or the freedom to just figure out what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, when I went to stay with my son for that whole month and a half, and he was like, Mom, are you ever going? I don't have to go home. The dogs are being taken care of. And so I'm good. Like I have upkeep time, just to do whatever. And it's a good feeling, and then once you realize that, hey, you know what? Damn, I like this. I like that. I can do this. I can do that. I can go here. I can go there. I don't have to put in all this paperwork and all this other stuff. I can just get my ass up and roll out whenever I want.
All right. Well, good. Well, thank you very much. We really
thank you guys for inviting me. I feel like I'm a boring person. Like I don't have a whole lot going on. But so thank you for inviting and listening to my rants and ravings or whatever. But I appreciate it.
I had fun. This was an entertaining show.
Yeah, no, you're great. So now I know you're a couple hours from Charlottesville. So
Charlotte, don't say Charlottesville. They'll think that's Virginia, like Virginia, Charlottesville.
Okay.
Charlotte.
Yeah, my Southeast geography. Okay, Charlotte.
Charlotte.
We do offer 2 tickets to the game for our MVP podcast. Yes, if you're interested.
You want to go?
Are you interested?
Are you going?
No, I'm not. I'm taking care of my dog. I've been away. I've been in Japan for the past month, so I just got home and I got some.
What kind of dog you have?
I rescued him, but he's kind of like a boxer Rhodesian Ridgeback mix.
Oh God!
Actually, his name.
I couldn't match that up.
His name is Dane, though. He's not a Great Dane, but his name's Dane.
That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to match that up. Like, how would you match that up? I guess you have to get a boxer.
Mix. He has the boxer colors. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be there?
Yes.
Oh, you
flying out
okay?
Tomorrow. Yep, flying out tomorrow. So if you would like, I've got 2 kind of on hold. I wasn't sure if you wanted to go or not. So we'd love to have you at the game if that works for you. If you want to try it.
You know what? I'll call Wayne, the other MVP member.
Okay.
And see if he wants to. And then if not, what time does y'all game start? Even though I'm here in Fayetteville, like I see them on Charlotte. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. Yeah. So even though, because these people around here, they're fair weather fans. They're only good when you're doing good around here. Yeah. So they're weirdos here.
Well, let me know if you can let me know yet tonight, that would be great. And I'll get something.
I won't be on it. You're going to be on MVP tonight?
Thursday.
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah, I'm on Tuesday night. Yeah, I do the Tuesday night LA one. I probably won't be on tonight.
Okay, I'll text you. And then, of course, I got to send you pictures of my boo-boo.
That'd be great.
And your dogs.
And the dogs.
Oh, yes. I have them. So when they had the election and when Pamela Harris won, so I put the pearls on them because that's everybody was rocking the pearls. Yep. And so they're sitting up there looking all nice with the pearls on. They're like, "You're crazy." I'm like, I want them to be part of what's going on in this world. Yeah. So I'll send you pictures of that.
Pamela would be very proud.
Yep.
Pearls. So okay. Well, you let me know about the game and we'll take care of that.
Okay.
Yeah, we thank you very much for your time and sharing your story. So really like it. So that was terrific. So thank you so much. All right. Take care. All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode. Thank you everyone so much for listening, for sticking around, and just for being a wonderful part of this community. If you would like to get involved with the show, we have hats for sale. They are at residency.com. There's a link for that in our bio on Instagram. Our new website is almost done. I know I keep saying that, but oh my goodness, launching a website, man, there's a lot of pieces. But with that, if you want any game day yoga, I've been posting that over on my social media channels. So that's at eKittle. Hidden Pearls is usually tagged in it. So you can also just go to our tagged photos. If you want to share or promote this, it really helps us to get our message out so that, if you know somebody who could resonate or if you know somebody who this episode could help or who could use MVP or who needs a community, please, we ask that you share it with them. There's all of the contact information for MVP for us in the show notes. So you can always refer back to that. It helps us so much if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and if you would subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, 5 stars, baby. And if you actually write something, it helps us to boost up in the charts so that more people hear us. And then we can continue to spread the message and unite the world through storytelling. So thank you guys so much and happy birthday, little brother. I love you so freaking much. And I am so proud of you. So with that, guys, go Niners. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.